Individually, sailors Stephanie Roble and Maggie Shea had already won world championships and national titles before joining forces and earning the chance to represent the U.S. in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. But the road to the Games has been a little unusual. I spoke with Stephanie and Maggie with the Olympics just a few months away.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. I'm here with Stephanie Roble and Maggie Shea, two representatives of the U.S. sailing team in the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. And thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Just starting out, so where are you from and did you learn to sail on the Great Lakes?
I'm from Wilmette, Illinois, and I learned to sail on White Lake in Michigan and on Lake Michigan with my family. My grandpa had a big boat, and so my family sailed together, and we sailed all over the Midwest as a kid doing junior sailing, and that's where I totally fell in love with the sport.
I grew up in Wisconsin, sailing on the inland lakes, a small lake called Lake Beulah in East Troy, Wisconsin. Very small yacht club that was member run, and really just a passion for sailing from all the members of the yacht club. And I started at a really young age, at 5 years old, and at first I was pretty intimidated by the sport and not so sure about it. And then eventually I fell in love with competing and basically haven't stopped ever since I found that competition aspect of the sport.
I would love to, by the way, just like to meet the sailor that started when they were like 6 that didn't like feel absolutely terrified the first time they got thrown into like a little boat by themselves and were like, oh my God, like, Dad, what did you do to me? Why'd you put me out here? I'm so terrified. But yeah, so obviously.
That's definitely how I felt.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing this because Steph is so fearless now. Like, she sends it so hard on this boat, and I'm usually the one that's like, whoa, careful, wave, watch out, you know.
I think it's so cool that you guys are, you know, from here and grew up like sailing a lot of the ways that I did in little tiny lakes and, you know, on the Great Lakes. And then you get all the way, you know, to the top of the sport.
Well, you qualified for the Olympics in February of 2020.
How did you feel when you found out that you'd be going to Tokyo?
It was an amazing feeling. It was, as soon as we heard the news, it was just, I think I had instant tears. I was so excited, and it's a lifetime dream come true for me, for sure.
As you were getting used to the idea that you were going to the Olympics, they were getting all set to host the Games in Tokyo, and then COVID-19 cast a shadow over the whole world.
When the pandemic hit, did you immediately know that it would affect the Games?
We were just hoping that it wouldn't be canceled. You know, we were grateful for the postponement and actually saw it as a positive.
How did that extra year change like your training, your planning?
It actually kind of kept things in perspective for us because worse things, you know, were happening in the world. The Olympics weren't the biggest deal. Sport wasn't that important. We were like, okay, well, let's just sit tight, take this one day at a time, see what happens.
Of course, the Games were rescheduled for summer of 2021, but you two have had a weird year.
A little bit different than planned. How are you feeling about the Games now?
I am so excited. It's crazy that we're just around 90 days away, and we're just really trying to do everything we can to be ready when we show up.
I mean, how do you think the pandemic will change the overall Olympic experience in terms of the Games themselves?
It's going to be weird. There's going to be so much testing, so many regulations. It's going to be really different than any other sailing regatta has ever looked or any Games has ever been. But we're treating that like it's just another element that we need to prepare for.
In March of 2021, they officially announced that international spectators wouldn't be let into Japan to see the Games.
I mean, how did you feel when you heard that there was no overseas visitors allowed? Did that sort of change what the experience was going to be?
We know they'll be there in spirit with us, so that's the best we can have right now. We definitely feel for the athletes who are used to a stadium full of cheerleaders and parents and friends, and we definitely don't have that in sailing. So
sailors are kind of used to nobody coming to watch,
yeah,
sort of.
Exactly.
We'll probably have a feeling of relief when we get on the boat every day and just go sailing. You know, that's going to be the best part.
Do you feel like you're not only representing the U.S. but also, you know, the Midwest and Great Lakes in general?
We feel very proud to represent the U.S. at the Olympics, obviously, but we do feel so connected to the Midwest and sort of proud to be Midwest sailors on the world scene. There's just such a great community that we could rely on to help us get to the starting line, and that's something really special, I think, in the Midwest. Yeah, I feel really lucky to represent the Midwest for sure.
Are there any tips for someone who might want to tune in and watch you guys and watch the competition? Like what to look for, how to watch the games?
Look for the American flag spinnaker ahead of all the other ones.
Thank you, Maggie and Steph. It was awesome to talk to you guys. I'm so glad that we were able to have you on the show, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys compete in Tokyo.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Thanks, Ward.
At Great Lakes Now, we aim to cover the Great Lakes region and the people who live here, like you. Please follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our newsletter at greatlakesnow.org.